Hey everyone, welcome back to How to Be a Poser. Today we're going to be chasing infinity, and to do that we'll be using the Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 50 die-cast 6 scale figure. Let's get started. Alright, here it is, the Iron Man Mark 50 die-cast. Still in his box, exactly the way he's going to come to you. Includes a nice assortment of hands, a gorgeous portrait of Robert Downey Jr., a set of Nano Boosters, and a couple of different arm cannons. Can't wait to see what I can do with all this stuff, so let's get started. Alright, here he is, the Iron Man Mark 50 die-cast. Oh god, yeah, this thing's really, really cool. Alright, so I'm just going to do a really quick test to see exactly what this thing is capable of. We got some fairly decent arm articulation here. It looks like, yeah, if you move this bicep out, that will enable you to bend the arm slightly more than you would be able to if you just left it in. That's just a consequence of the streamlined nature of the nanotech particles that he uses to create the suit. So yeah, that's a good thing to know. Another good thing to know is that this is just ever so slow. That's actually quite a bit of play. Look at all that. Yeah, that moves quite nicely. All right, so that's good. All right, so we know we can get 90 degrees of movement out of that arm there. Let's check the leg. That's great, look at that. That's well over 90 degrees. I'll take that, that's pretty significant. And additionally, do we get the same? Yeah, we get that torso that will pop off and rotate. All right, so let's get rolling on a slightly flying pose. This thing's pretty heavy, so whether or not I pose it on the stand is determined by the nature of that pose. So I'm going to start by changing these accessories out. Now when you're popping off the arm, you just kind of want to bend it a little bit, get a good grip on it, and it just pops right off of there. See how that is? There's a nice little groove there for it to slide down, and it's pretty much plug and play. You can't miss it. All right. Awesome cannon. I love awesome cannons. And that just went right home. I love how easy that was. Okay, now to get this back off of here, it's pretty tight, so if you try to pull it off with your fingers, you might be frustrated. Fortunately, Hot Toys thought to include a tool for us. So if you slide this down here, I'm thinking that you can use it, just very gently pry that off. Wow. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. While I've got this off, you can see that this is actually the area that you're going to plug the batteries in if you wanted to use the light up feature. Gonna plug this guy in here. Nice snug fit, looking good. Nano Boosters, baby. That's where it's at. Love it. Okay, so these are the accessories that I'm gonna be using. So the next thing I think I wanna do is maybe just hit just a basic pose. Have him have his upper torso doing the actions that I want it to be doing before I put it onto the flight stand. The reason I do this is because it just kind of minimizes the risk of the figure falling off the flight stand as I'm posing it. And anything that you can do to minimize that risk, of course, is going to be desirable. Now I'm going to do a bit of a torso twist. So I'll start with just, let's see, this. Yeah, I'm going to go full torso twist. So I've extended both segments of the abdomen. I'm twisting the torso to his right. Now, I'm going to take this leg, drop it one notch, and then raise it just a touch until there's a collision between the top there and the top of the leg and the bottom of the hips. Now let's go ahead and bend this. All right, then I'm going to pick this up. Now, of course, I like to extend the feet because you can do that when you're flying. Oh, look at that. That is so great. So much awesome engineering going on here. And I want to move this arm back, just have him clenching his fist in a very superhero pose there. All right, I'm going to try to get this leg up a little bit more, so I want to drop that down to the next level, raise it, being careful to avoid these parts colliding because I don't want to chip the paint. let's go ahead and bend that thing as much as I can, which I've kind of done. And I'm just gonna adjust this just a little bit more because I kind of, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have this arm further out to the side. But what I'm finding is that when I do that, it makes it difficult for me to get Iron Man to have a serious mean mug going on. I want him to be dipping his head and having his business face in full effect. So in order to achieve that, I need to compensate by bringing this arm a little bit more towards the front so he can look down this cannon. And very carefully, let's start bringing this thing onto the flight stand. Now, there's some weight to this. So I'm going to recommend bending this stand back at the bottom and then compensating by bringing it ever so slightly forward at the top. Now leave that pointed ever so slightly upward, because when you add the weight, that's actually going to cause that stand to flex just a bit. So in preparation for that, compensate by having it leaning back. Now I'm going to slide this thing on here. Okay, now two things I want to point out here. One is just notice how this has worked for me. I've got the Nano Boosters back here that are kind of supported a little bit by the flight stand. So that's working in our favor. That's a happy accident. I actually hadn't counted on that. Another thing that I've done to help support is that I've taken this front foot and I've placed it up against the flight stand. Now I'm going to bring it around now that I've done that. This is going to be my first real look at what I've created so far. This is okay, but I think we could probably do something better. I'm going to take the flight stand and bend it a little bit further forward, get some forward momentum going for Iron Man here. To compensate for that, I'm going to raise this arm just a touch more, if I'm allowed to. Yeah, looks like we got a little bit more. And it's just going to have to give the appearance of Iron Man firing ever so slightly downward. You see what I'm doing here is I'm twisting his torso just a touch. Now, as you're doing this, see what happened? I accidentally pulled it off the flight stand while I was twisting the body. So be aware of that and don't let go of the figure until you're sure that it's secured. All right, so again, twisting the torso ever so slightly downward just to create a little bit of a curve. Yeah, I want the impression to be one that Iron Man is flying up, maybe slightly higher than he would appear to be from the tabletop. All other things considered, I think that's done. All of Tony Stark's premonitions and preparations have converged by the beginning of Infinity War. The Mark 50 armor represents the peak of his technology and that of Wakanda combined. But it's still not enough to measure up to the might of Thanos.
Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe by clicking the S icon on your screen and click that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under Product Info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.